So we found out 11 years ago that the majority actually wants the smartest to lead instead of the most popular candidate. And we started a new country in Cascadia, right? Contrary to popular belief, that is the case. But what happens when you say that you're the smartest? Well, the public is going to write you off as an educator narcissist. Oh, you're smug about your PhD, right? You're smug about your intelligence, right? They're going to hate you. They might learn what you have to say, but the student is going to detest the teacher at the end of the lesson, depending on how smug you are. So if the tone of my voice is that of a pretentious snot, hey, look, you're going to tune out and you're going to hate my guts. You're not going to care what I have to say because it's a type of bigotry. Oh, you think you're smarter than I am, right? So if I tell you that I'm smarter than you, that's what's going to happen. And it atomizes the intelligent if they do this, even if they are smarter, even if they know the material better than the student. Okay? So that's the crux of it all. Hey, look, you're living in an idiocracy like the movie. I may be the smartest person on planet Earth the last 11 years in a lot of ways, right? I try to be as your noocracy representative. But this is what Hawking's table is for. You need to make it respectable as a team effort, okay? So, this is why every nation on the planet is now trying to find their smartest person by testing the intelligence of the individual instead of seeing how popular they are. Hey, look, all your votes for your candidates, all your elections are now irrelevant. You're trying to test the public to see how smart they are. Okay? And you've never done this before. It's something new. Look, you were just looking to see who was most popular so that the people would accept them as the leader. But what if uh, the guy is very popular, but he's dumb? Right? Do you want to have a dumb leader? Well, the majority actually doesn't. And the old governments of the world are hiding this fact that the majority wants the smartest to lead. Look, they want to keep their power as a national narcissist, right? But the smartest person is going to tell you that our nationalism is just a stumbling block in the way of human progress. So the longer we have nationalism like this, well, the more dangerous it is for planet Earth because someone's eventually going to push the button and then everybody does it and then the world ends. So leadership is the only proactive measure for thermonuclear Armageddon. That's why the smartest person leads every military in the world in my generation. But the boomers don't listen to my generation. They omit and suffocate our message because they want power. Okay, so that's the problem. You have a lot of silenced boomers who don't uh, keep up with the actual historical timeline. Look, they're 11 years behind, right? We started a new country 11 years ago in Cascadia. Today, it's a one nation continent. You're two countries behind as Americans because you were paying attention to the boomers instead of yours truly. Okay, so that's the problem, guys. You are distracted. You're easily distracted because, the government that's established has all kind of stooges and actors to make certain people popular and certain people not popular, right? I might be the most important person in world history, but the old government is not going to tell you that, are they? Because look, you have all these people with government jobs. They don't want to lose their job, do they? Right? So, what we have are two different governments now all around the world. We have the old one, and then we have the Nocratic government. So, we can have a symbiosis with the old government. Look, the old government could help us out, technically. right? If they wanted to, if they weren't assholes. Okay? So that's what I'm trying to do. I will tag, the president of America 11 years after America ended and try to tell them, hey, look, I want to make car boat hybrids for flooding disasters, right? You just had a big flood in Texas. So I'll tag, the president of Canada, of America, of Mexico. Look, I'm leading the continent here in my generation. So our national borders, that was just a stumbling block. I'm trying to teach you Chief Seattle philosophy that once you're intelligent, you get rid of your state and national borders, right? Kind of like Ronald Reagan talking about the Berlin Wall. Tear down this wall, right? So anything that divides humanity, I just view as divide and conquer strategy. Some asshole wants power and they want to divide humanity some way, right? By nations, and we wave different colored flags, right? But I'm telling you, hey, when you go to the moon, you want to wave the authentic Earth flag instead of your national flag. You want to get with the times so that you can progress as humanity. It's with knowledge comes power, not with popularity comes power. So I hope that rings true to you, right? But what happens? Look at how it is with women. Women don't want a smart guy. Women prefer a dumb guy, right? So, regarding mate selection, you're rewarding the dumbest, okay? Right? So this is why I'm competing with Genghis Khan to have the most babies in human history. Because you are opting as a society to have the most violent rapist have the most babies instead of the smartest, right? And I've asked over 3,000 women if they want to make babies in sociology. Not a single response. That could be the women and their celebrity narcissism. Maybe I'm not famous enough to talk to. Maybe I don't have a blue check mark, right? Or, right, that could be the moderator narcissist, the developers of social media who don't want me to be famous because, look, maybe their country would end, right? So I'm trying to teach you the basics, guys. We need to deduce the stigma that we have for intelligent people and make them more important because we are living in an idiocracy like the movie. Hey, the American public did fail to understand the Declaration of Independence for 2.5 centuries. So it's essential I teach you the foundation of government in general. It's essential that I teach you about the new government, or you're going to be lost. You're going to be lost with the boomers who weren't as organized as we are in Generation X. They weren't as intelligent as us. Look, in isolation, you scour the internet for all its information. You take it in like an amoeba in your loneliness. And what happens also, though, when you're isolated like this? Well, you become atomized socially. It's hard for me to reach out to you because you've never paid attention to me before, right? So that's the crux. You have very smart people who have been deduced socially, but they're the most important. Okay? So we're trying to build the noocracy now. You're trying to find those people who've been scattered in the wind, isolated, atomized by society, and all these people who are in a big pissing contest to be the most popular. Look, they might be popular, but if they're bumbling idiots, none of them are fit for leadership or steering the direction of planet Earth. And Socrates argued you wouldn't let just anyone sail a ship at sea. You'd essentially want somebody who knew the job, a captain, right? Who is Starship Earth's captain, right? I'm trying to help you here. You know, what would Jean Luc Picard do? That's what we need to think now as a planet if we're going to be progressive futurists.